Hi lovelies, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be ranting about a movie called The Hunters. This movie is one that me and my sisters discovered like a while back. It's kind of an older movie and I remember really liking it. Like I remember the three of us thinking that this was like maybe not the best movie, but like it was enjoyable. Enjoyable enough that we watched it like multiple times, like at least 3 times over the years. But I hadn't seen it in a while, so I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. Let's see what this movie was all about. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know why I liked it. Um, it's not good in any sense of the word. So let's rant about it. So the basic premise of this movie is that we have a family of hunters. We learn that this title is given to people who protect magical artifacts. So they seek out the artifact and then they protect it from evil people who might want to use the artifact for their own evil wishes. So this includes things like Cinderella's slipper or the dwarves' house. I don't know if that was an artifact or just something that they mentioned. The mirror from Sleeping Beauty. That's a big one. That's actually the main MacGuffin of the movie, is finding the mirror. The reason the evil people want the magic mirror so badly is because whoever looks into it is granted their greatest desire. Now, as hunters, they are sworn to protect and never use. And this is the source of the main conflict in this film, because the bad guy had to watch his dad protect and not use the item that could have saved his life.
At the very end, when he was wounded and laying on the ground, he was holding it in his hands. And he said to me, "Find and protect, never use."
So, bad guy is upset that his dad died and now wants to destroy all hunters. That's his goal. According to this lore that they're giving us, he's seeking one of the most powerful objects in this universe so that he can get rid of all of the hunters. And that's it. That's his main goal. Now, later in the movie, he does clarify that he also wants to take over the world.
People need leadership. They don't need some ancient order of warrior scientists. The ancient Gorgos ruled over man for millennia. That is my true birthright.
But like the first 2 times he mentioned what his main goal was, he really just wanted to get rid of the hunters.
My deepest desire is to have ultimate power. Then will I be able to make sure the hunters vanish.
Apparently the hunters are the only thing standing between him and ruling the world. So that's crazy work. So the movie starts out with us seeing the mom and dad of this family on an adventure. They are actually stealing an artifact as we enter into this movie, and we're supposed to get the impression that they're really good at their jobs and that they've done this before and that they're just like, the best. However, 2 things to point out here. The first is that as soon as they got out of the danger zone, they immediately pulled out the stolen artifact. Problem 1. Problem 2 is that before they could drive away with the stolen artifact that they're holding in front of them, some kid points at them. It's like, that's them. They're the ones who stole it. Mind you, this kid was nowhere near the museum when they left. And the police just walked up to him and were like, hey, have you seen someone with a stolen thing? And he hadn't, but he knew it was them. So.
Don't worry! Don't be! We'll lose him in 15 seconds. Time me.
They're being chased through the streets and they get away. They solve a riddle.
The light of Naga.
I'm very attracted to you right now.
The Naya Falls.
So they go to this remote location and they pull out this little spy device and they zip line across this large ravine. And on the other side, they end up finding this pot, this vase that was just like hidden under a rock. And I guess no one had ever looked there for anything, because it was just sitting in there. So they find that and they go to zip line back across and go home and find the next piece of the treasure or whatever. And lo and behold, they're betrayed by Miss Newbie here.
Already have the vase. Why don't you just let us go?
And spend the rest of my life looking over my shoulder?
Now, we don't know anything about her, which is why she didn't get much of an introduction. She just shows up and they're like, we don't know if we can trust you. And she's like, I don't know if I can trust you either.
She is late, and that is not like her.
Might be. We hardly know her.
I could say the same about you.
And then they all go like ziplining. So she ends up betraying them. Whoop-de-doo. And so mom and dad are being held at crossbow point. But bad girl has an idea and decides that she is going to cut the line, cut the rope. And then presumably mom and dad are dead. So that's how the movie starts. After that, we meet the kids and we discover that they know nothing about this hunter business and that they're completely caught off guard.
An ancient society called the Hunters.
I told you it was complicated.
It's not complicated. It's insane.
So the movie is basically about these two kids who are learning about their legacy and their destinies as hunters, trying to save the world from these bad guys who there seem to only be 4 of these bad guys at most, but apparently they're really bad, even though every time they show up they just get terribly beat up and they can't do their job, but whatever. So they have 2 main goals, which is get the ancient artifact and save our parents.
Here's the plan.
Find my folks, save the world.
Save the world and find your folks.
During this whole thing, we find out that the mom didn't die. The mom is perfectly fine and alive, and she goes after her kids because she's trying to stop the bad guys too.
Mom! Get in! Come on! Nice timing!
So she ends up joining them at some point, and they all go after the magic mirror together. However, the bad guy ends up being 1 step ahead of them and catches them.
We did it.
We certainly did. Nice trick. I don't know if I should shake your hand or send you to your room.
Well, neither sounds appealing.
So, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, he ends up looking into the mirror and he asks not to get rid of the hunters, not to be given the power or whatever to take over the world, but he asks to become a true Gorgon. Him being of Gorgon ancestry was briefly mentioned and no one cared.
The ancient Gorgos ruled over man for millennia.
Gorgos.
And apparently that means that you're related to Medusa, and everyone in Medusa's clan can apparently turn people to stone. So because he's looking in the mirror, when his wish is granted, he turns himself to stone. So the hunters win, and the mom looks into the mirror and she's like, oh, this could bring your dad back if we wished him back. And they're like, no, you don't know how the mirror's gonna twist your wish. And she's like, yeah, you're right.
Mirror, mirror, fondest wishes is that you destroy yourself.
Then she wishes that the mirror destroys itself, and not only does the mirror destroy itself, but it destroys the entire castle that it's in, and everyone in it, it's just all gone. And the hunters leave and they have a grand time. They go look for their dad. Now, I know I sped through that, and that's because we're not here to talk about this actual movie. The actual movie is so boring, and I don't care about it. I got like 10 minutes in, realized how boring it was, and was like, why? I'm gonna need to pick a different movie for this because I don't think there's anything here to talk about. Like, don't get me wrong, the dialogue in the movie was pretty good. Like, it was funny, it was clever.
You think your parents can afford all this on researchers' salaries?
I'm a kid. I don't know the value of things. I don't know anything. I swear. It's true. I've known him my whole life. He knows nothing. Trip. Think. How was I supposed to think that would happen?
That part was enjoyable, but the actual plot and the characters and the world building all fell short by miles. On top of the fact that there was no character development, period. The characters were just very surface level. There was nothing really special about them. We didn't learn anything except for like one fact that happened to be relevant to the plot, which for brother number 1 was the fact that he liked to sail and he was trying to like run away. And then brother number 2, his relevant information was that he was a tech whiz. So he had a really weird phone that could just do anything, I guess, really.
What are those numbers?
It's the frequency in which it's vibrating at.
Other than that, we don't know anything about these characters. This girl Dylan shows up to be the love interest, And when I say that she just shows up, I mean she literally just like appears. She's just like, oh, I'm here now. And they're like, what are you doing here? And she's like, what do you mean? I don't know, Dylan, you're the one who appeared out of nowhere. And so the characters really aren't worth mentioning or going into detail about. And the plot is just your very simple, like, searching for the MacGuffin, trying to get it before bad guy does. It's really nothing special. And they do such a poor job of setting up the movie. If you've watched my video on Back in Action, you'll know that I pointed out that they were a little too careful about setting things up. This one, they didn't do it at all. Like, unless they were actively talking about the information, you didn't know they even knew that information. There's so many times when they're like, oh, how are we gonna solve this? And then someone pipes up and they're like, oh, we need to do this, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, how'd you know that? Oh, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, that's so convenient. Like, yeah, it is really convenient, actually. That's that's crazy. And it just like, it had every single time there was a riddle or a puzzle, someone in the group was like, oh, I know this. You don't know this? I know this. And then they solved the puzzle. Which, again, these are kids. So if these 3 kids took 2 days to solve this ancient riddle that these bad guys have been looking for who knows how long, it couldn't have been that hard. After watching this movie, there was just something that didn't quite sit right with me. And I remember thinking it was weird when I was younger, but just brushing it off. But watching it again, there's just something like really, really wrong in the background of this movie. And that's the question of, where is the dad? What happened to the dad? I'm gonna walk us through this little ravine section again, and we're gonna need to lock in, okay? We're gonna need to start taking some notes because what happened to the dad?
Mom, what about Dad?
I don't know, Pax, but he's your father.
So they reach this ravine and they zip line across.
You have a lot to learn about this business, Mai.
Then he climbs up onto the waterfall.
So there's a passage on the other side of that water.
Oh, well, that'll be fun for you, since I did the last one.
I know.
And he reaches into this little cavern cave and he pulls out this artifact, right? They climb down, they head back to their zip line.
Ladies first.
What a gentleman.
If I didn't know any better, I think you were flirting with Mai.
Well, I guess it's good you know better.
The bad girl zip lines across. The mom zip lines across. He hears her cry out. And he zip lines over there anyway to go save her. So they're both over there. They're both standing on solid ground. He's still hanging on to the zip line thing. They're being threatened. And as soon as the bad girl tells her minions to shoot them, fire! The mom jumps back onto him. So they are now like, they are on top of each other and they zip line back across. Now, the bad girl cuts the rope and we assume that they're falling.
Are we done?
Yeah. We're done.
Simple enough, right? Except for the fact that the next time that we see the mom, she is A, by herself, B, completely unharmed, and C, looking for the dad. She doesn't know where he is. She decides to try to walkie him. I guess they carry walkies around.
Carter, get in.
After that, the mom makes her journey to her kid and the movie continues and blah, blah, blah. But what happened to the dad? Because they were together. She was on top of him. So, we have 3 options here. Option number 1, one of them let go. One of them couldn't hold on and they got separated because one of them let go. Option number 2 is that some cartoon ass shenanigans went down and as they fell, they like hit a tree branch or something and bounced apart and just tumbled to the ground. Option 3 is murder. I know that may seem extreme, but let's take a look at some of the evidence throughout this movie because there's something not quite right about this mom character. Because they were together. And so unless when they were falling, they like both let go and then they just got drawn away from each other by some magical entity, and then fell so far away from each other, there's no way that she could have lost him, right? You can't like swim through the air. So the fact that she doesn't know where he is crazy. So let's take a look at some of our evidence. The first thing I want to point out is this mom's lack of care, it seems, for her children. Overall, she seems like she just like doesn't really care what they do. The only evidence I have that contradicts this is this one little moment here.
Mom, we thought you were...
Why aren't you in school?
Seriously, we're going to do this now?
Where she gets called out about not caring, and then she's like, oh no, I'm glad you're all right.
I'm just glad you're okay, baby.
It could easily be argued that she only did that because she got called out by her own son, right? So we'll leave that there.
I wanted something your dad and I never had, which was a childhood.
But what you got was a whole part of your life that didn't include us.
When her other son kind of confronts her about, hey, like, I know you wanted us to have a childhood and that's why you didn't tell us about this whole hunter thing. We didn't know where you guys were most of the time. We really didn't have parents. You shipped us off to boarding school as soon as you could.
Just because we had parents doesn't mean we weren't lonely for them.
Yeah, I know that now.
And then she just moves on. And it's like, I don't think you care. I don't think you care.
Do you think Dad's all right?
She shows no concern at all for the fact that her husband's missing. She is so on business. And like, sure, we could just say that she understands the consequences if they fail, and so she's just trying to stop the bad guys and then worry about that. But like, she barely mentions it. There's no emotion. There's no like, oh my god, my husband. There's no, I'm really worried about him too. There's just, yeah, we got a job to do. Let's go. Okay. So on top of the fact that she seems very apathetic, we know that she knows how to beat up people, and we can assume that she knows how to kill people. That seems within her capabilities. So she doesn't seem to really care about her family in general. She doesn't seem to care about the fact that her husband's missing. Doesn't seem worried about that at all. She makes a comment right before they go over the gorge to meet the evil girl about him flirting.
If I didn't know any better, I think you were flirting with mine.
Well, I guess it's good you know better.
This exchange, first glance, seems kind of like a well-adjusted couple who are just kind of like joking around. But I want you to look at her face. She's not joking. She's not kidding. He might be. She's not. She's dead serious. The theory is that she saw her opportunity to get rid of him because she doesn't care that much and he's cheating on her. He's flirting with other girls. So time to move on. So she kills him. I don't know how. I don't know what she did with the body, but they're in the middle of nowhere and they would never find him. They don't know where he is. So she would get away with it. It's the perfect crime. Now, technically, there are 2 scenes in this movie that help to disprove this theory. The first is when she sits down on the rocks and walkies for him, which implies that she doesn't believe he's dead. She has hope that he's alive. And the second is at the end of the movie when she and the whole family are looking for him and they receive a signal that's like asking for help from Peru. And they are adamant that it's from him.
Satellite passes directly over the spot right at noon every day. So if your father's looking for us, this is exactly where we need to be.
What does this mean?
It's encrypted, an old code.
What sort of code?
Distress.
That's Dad. It has to be.
So that implies that he isn't dead, that he's alive. However, for at least the first scene, I would like to put forward that perhaps she knows or assumes that someone is watching her. She knows that there's bad guys around potentially. Potentially they're looking for her to finish her off in case the fall didn't. Who's to say that she wasn't just putting on a show? If not for them, then for us. Just to throw us off her trail. Why would she know that there's an audience watching her? I don't know. But she hunts magical objects for a living, so why wouldn't she believe that? And another piece of evidence is the fact that she was completely unharmed. Like, when we saw her again, there were no like major injuries. She was basically completely fine. Like she wasn't limping, she wasn't holding it her like arm, she wasn't like bleeding. Nothing. Like she was perfectly fine. So you're telling me you got out of this perfectly fine, but your husband what? Just disappeared? And also, let's bring up the fact that she got out of there. She got out of the middle of nowhere with incredible ease. Made it back to civilization. Found her children easily. Where'd her husband go? Why wouldn't have he also looked for the kids? Met up with them somewhere.
Look at his tickets on the next flight to Peru.
Here, I'll put a list of supplies together.
So, we're gonna put a pin in this theory and move our attention over here for a second. Because there's a second theory that this leads us to. If we're going to take those two scenes for truth, then we have to believe that he's alive. So if she didn't kill him, where is he? Let's back up for a second. Because they were ziplining together. Again, somehow they got separated. If we go with the theory that one of them let go and he makes it somewhere else, lands somewhere else, who knows how he survived, why didn't he answer her radio? Why didn't he go look for his kids or even her? How did he end up in Peru? Peru's not anywhere near where those shards were that he was looking for. It wasn't anywhere near the mirror. And those were the two things they were trying to find and protect. His kids were also near those locations because they were looking for those things. Didn't run into them. Didn't run into the mom when they were both trying to get out of the jungle. He ended up in Peru. How'd you get to Peru? This leads to a fourth theory. And that is the dad wants a divorce. He wants a divorce. He is done, right? He's over this mom girl. He is tired of this relationship, and faking his death is the perfect way to get out of his marriage. The mom, in one of the very first scenes, brings up the kids. Now, we've already established that she doesn't really seem to care about the kids. And it's only in passing, and it's basically just kind of a, I feel bad that we haven't told the kids. I hope they're okay. I hope they're fine. And he's like, yeah, they're fine. They're fine. Like, why are we talking about this right now? They're fine.
Packing a trip for great kids.
But they're not kids anymore. We hardly see them because we're always away.
Okay, after this job, we'll take some time off. I promise.
You say that every time.
I think that was her kind of sussing him out. I think she was trying to get a read on him, trying to see how much he cared about their little family. I can't prove that he's cheating on his wife with this woman. I can't prove that he's cheating on his wife with anyone. But what are the odds that they both of the parents get away and they just end up on opposite sides of the world? Right? Because they have the same resources to get out. One of their main resources was their filthy rich friend, who is Mr. Evil Man.
Still filthy, stinking rich?
More than ever.
Awesome.
And so mom heads over to him, figures out how to get there, ends up at his house, and discovers he's evil. But dad, I feel, would have done the same thing if he was trying to get back to his family. He's just as capable and has the same amount of resources as his wife. Why did he end up in Peru? I know I'm really stuck on that, but like, wow. You were in the middle of nowhere in like India. How did you end up in Peru? We could give him the benefit of the doubt and say he had amnesia. He had amnesia and that made him fly to Peru after escaping the jungle. It's not a great theory. It's not very sound because if he had amnesia, it's weird that he only forgot his family and not also how to survive in a jungle and get out and book a flight and fly to Peru. And like, he didn't forget his bank account to pay for the flight, but he forgot about his family. So that's not exactly the soundest theory, but if we want to give him the benefit of the doubt, we can go that way. I think, though, he's running away. He's ready to get out. He's done with this family. He's like, I'm gonna go spend some time in Peru, party it up, live life, you know? Now, again, there's two things that contradict this. The first is that he actually seemed like a pretty decent guy. Like, he seemed like he liked his wife and he loved her and that he loved his kids and family. He didn't seem like he was like dreading spending time with them or anything. But, you know, I don't know, maybe he was. And the second piece of evidence is the fact that he is sending out an emergency signal at the end of the movie, which indicates that he needs help in Peru. Why would he be sending out a signal if he didn't want to be found? And so that's really the sticking point of both these theories, is the fact that there's a signal being sent out. Now, we don't know that it's him. They assume it's him, but we don't know that it's him. It could be anyone. This is the problem, because it was setting up a sequel movie that we never got. And probably for good reason, because it was not very good. But that leaves us with this very limited amount of evidence to figure out whether he was murdered, whether he ran away, or whether some Looney Tune ass shenanigans happened. He bumped his head, ended up with amnesia, and is now sending a help signal from Peru, which he managed to travel to somehow, some way. Now, we could argue that maybe he got kidnapped. Maybe he was kidnapped and he was sent to Peru. They're holding him there. But there's only 3 bad guys. 4 if we count their filthy rich friend. But he died by the end of the movie. And technically there should only be 2, because Girly Pop should have gotten evaporated inside the castle. She was in there when all of that got evaporated. She should have died. But apparently she didn't. So whatever. But there's only 3 of them. And she's nowhere near Peru. And the other 2 aren't smart enough to be sending out that very specific signal. So if it's not the dad, who is it? Is it just a random hunter? It could be. There's a large network of hunters. Not every hunter knows the other hunters. That's a whole thing. That's explained in the movie. It could just be a random guy. Okay, where's the dad then? Did he run away? Or was he murdered? This I will leave up to you in the comments to argue out. Maybe you watch the movie to try to find some more evidence. There's not a lot, I'm telling you. There's not much to work with here. There's literally just that beginning sequence, the few bits with the mom, and then that ending like 2 minutes where they're on a boat. That's it. That's all we have to work with. I'm a little torn, because part of me wants to believe that the dad is just living out his happy life, but part of me feels like it's way more interesting if the mom just straight up said screw you and just murked the guy. I don't know, I'm torn. I feel like if she got away blemish free, like there was not a scratch on her, then he also would have been perfectly fine, which means that he ran away. He had to have run away. He has to be hiding from them. And that signal they found just must be like a random hunter in their network. He had to have gotten away. I think he ran away. I think he ditched them. I'm locking in my answer. That's what I think happened. I think he ran away. There's no way. He was the one holding on. There's no way. It really could be, though, that she just murdered him. If she could have murdered him. Oh, gosh darn it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Was he murdered? Did he run away? Is there something I'm not thinking of? Is there something I'm missing? Let me know. That's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and click the like and subscribe button below and the notification bell. And I will see you lovelies next time. Bye!
Trip. Stop cleaning. Sorry. It makes me feel better.
So that's problem number like 400 at this point. Problem 401